Hello everyone and welcome to my cruise channel. Have you ever wondered how you're gonna get everything that you want to do done on your cruise? There's a lot of options to choose from on a cruise ship. So in this video we're going to talk about just a few time-saving hacks, if you will, to try and assist you with that. But before we get into all that, I must ask, if you like this video, if you find it at all helpful, please hit the like and subscribe buttons below. Alright, so let's get to it. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you do, even before you end up on the cruise ship, is to download the CruiseLine app. In addition to finding out what activities are on board, you can also use it to book restaurants, shows, etc. before you even get to the terminal. Next, you want to sign up for your embarkation time before you cruise. Now, in the old days, they didn't have the option of signing up for a time slot to arrive at the terminal on the app. And this caused people to be waiting in line for hours and hours at a time. I think just before the pandemic, I was on the Norwegian Bliss, and this wasn't an option. And we wound up waiting in line for over 2 hours. So each line has a different time frame for when those spots will open up. So be sure to visit their website or log into the app to find out when those times will be available for the booking. For example, my next cruise is a celebrity cruise. And when I booked the cruise, as soon as the cruise showed up, it said that I could book that time 45 days out. So you might want to check into that. Next, you want to sign up for your excursions before you embark on the ship. Now, they will be available to sign up for when you get on the ship. However, lines can be long and you run the risk of the excursions that you really want to be doing being sold out. For example, when I was cruising before the pandemic, I don't remember exactly which line, but we did not sign up for shore excursions before we left for the trip. And we really wanted to go to the Kennedy Space Center. As it turned out, that shore excursion was already sold out, despite the fact that we were in line the first day to be able to sign up for it. So you want to definitely keep that in mind. And sometimes those shore excursions actually go up in price, so definitely be on the lookout for that. Next up, you want to make sure that you can reserve your restaurants, any ones that you can, before you board. That way you're guaranteed a spot in the restaurant and you won't have to wait in long lines, especially with the traditional versus my time dining. Now, if you don't sign up for your restaurants ahead of time, it's not the end of the world. They do have the option of being able to reserve those restaurants on board the ship, or in many cases they will allow you to wait in line to see if there's a spot that's open. However, the downside with that is you could be waiting at least half an hour before you're allowed to eat. Now, going along those same lines, you'll want to purchase your dining and beverage packages before you even board the ship. If you choose to purchase on board, the lines might be long and your price might actually increase. Next up, you want to fill out your boarding information on the app before you go. Now, you can do this on the website, however, I find it much faster going through the app. You'll be able to be processed at the terminal much faster, and as I said before, lines at the terminal can be hours long. You'll also want to be sure that you print your boarding documents before you leave for the cruise. As we know, technology isn't always the best when it comes to working as expected, so it's a good idea to have a backup form of documentation on hand before you leave. Now, you'll also want to make sure that you pack those documentation papers in your carry-ons, because when you go and do your checked luggage, you won't have access to them for hours. Next, you want to prioritize what you want to do on the ship and do as many of the attractions as you can on the first day, or plan a day where you stay on the ship. Many attractions, such as pools and things like that, are open the first day, so you might want to check the cruise line's website to see if your favorite attraction is open. If not, then plan to do it on a day when everyone else is in port to avoid long lines. You also want to make sure that you reserve your shows before your cruise. Some shows require reservations due to capacity limitations. For example, Spectra's Cabaret on Anthem of the Seas is held in the venue 270, and they require reservations because they can only take a certain amount of people. Each cruise line has different rules and policies about when you can book those shows, so you might want to check that out. I know for a fact when I went on Norwegian Bliss, the time frame that you could reserve those shows was about 90 days prior to your sailing, but Spectra's Cabaret can be reserved pretty much as soon as you book the trip, so definitely make sure that you book those shows as soon as you possibly can. Next up is probably one of the most important things that you could do to save time on your cruise, and that's doing your e-muster drill before even arriving at the terminal. Each line allows their e-muster drill to be completed at different times. If you don't do your e-muster drill, the ship cannot leave port until everyone has completed the drill. This is law for them. If you refuse to do the drill, you may be asked to disembark the ship, and let's face it, that would ruin your first day. A brief description on how to complete your drill can be found in the linked video below. Also, if you have any children, you might want to sign them up for the kids club right away. It kind of acts like a kids camp while at sea. Now, I'm an alumni of several of their programs, and that first day is critical for them to be able to make friends, meet the staff, all that neat stuff. So definitely recommend doing that as soon as you can. Each cruise line opens up their registration at different times, but usually I think it's early afternoon for a lot of the cruise lines that might want to do that. So definitely check your cruise compass and your app and find out all the details on how you can enroll your children. Finally, to avoid long lines at the buffet on the first day of the cruise, consider dining at another venue. Many cruise lines will have specialty dining open or the main restaurant open. So if you don't want to wait in those long lines and fight everybody else who's trying to eat at the same time, definitely consider alternative options. And that's what I have for now. Seasoned cruisers, what's your favorite way to save time on a cruise? And new cruisers, do you have any questions? We would love to hear from you. And that's what I have for now. So, bon voyage!